What is up, Frag fam? Corbin here again from Northwest Scent. So have you ever wanted to smell like you're wearing a niche fragrance? You want the complexity, you want the uniqueness, you want the high quality scent of the ingredients maybe, but you don't want to spend $200, $300, $400 on an actual niche fragrance. In that case, I have the video for you today. These are going to be my top 5 designer fragrances from my collection that do smell niche quality to my nose. And again, what I mean by that is these don't smell run of the mill. They're all kind of doing their own thing, and they actually smell very high quality, and they're very well blended. So if you guys want to hear about these 5 designer fragrances that smell niche quality, then please stick around. But first, let's roll that intro. Alright guys, welcome back from the intro, and like I already said, these are my top 5 designer fragrances that smell niche quality from my collection, of course. And you know, just before we get into the video, a few things. Of course, I'm not putting any designer Privé lines on here, so you're not seeing any of like the Christian Dior Privé fragrances or like the Bulgari La Gem line fragrances. Those are, of course, higher quality, and the price reflects that. These are your like basic general designer fragrance lines. They are priced accordingly. Basically, all of these you can find for $135 or less, and that's on the retail side, which that is kind of expensive. But if you think about it, Sauvage Parfum even costs like $160 for 100 ml. So these are priced less than some Dior Sauvage flankers, and they smell a lot more high quality than that and a lot more unique. Additionally, fragrances that are technically designers like Tom Ford, I'm leaving those off this list because again, those are more niche fragrances. They are quite expensive and they are very unique and standalone. So again, these are your basic like run-of-the-mill designer lines and whatnot, but they do have a niche appeal to them. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into the first fragrance. Okay, so starting the video off here at the number 5 spot, although there is no rank to this list, the order is completely arbitrary. We are talking about this fragrance coming from the house of Issey Miyake. This is L'Eau d'Issey Noir Ombre. This thing has caught a ton of hype in the last few years just because it is a really unique and standout scent, especially for what you can get it for when you actually are able to catch it at the discounters, because you cannot find this at retail locations here in the US, and I'm pretty sure that just goes for the rest of North America and possibly even Europe. You do have to catch this from discounters as it was created for the Middle Eastern market, excuse me, but still, man, it is worth every single penny. I paid about $86 for my bottle coming from, I think it was fragrancebuy.ca where I got this one. Amazing presentation. The box is very high quality. It has like a nice kind of coffin style where it pulls out and then the fragrances sit in like a cutout. So it's a really nice presentation. Again, this is a 100 ml bottle. As far as the scent goes, you get saffron in here. There's cinnamon, there's nutmeg, some coriander. So a lot of spices at the top. You also do get a little bit of this kind of suede and supple leather in the mid, and you get amber and vanilla in the base. So yes, this does smell quite oriental, Middle Eastern, very spicy, very sweet. Again, that leather is there, although it's a lot softer. It's not like a dirty and like heavy-handed leather. Very, like I said, suede-like in a way. And the amber does bring a lot of sweetness as well as a little bit of powderiness. There is more to this than that. You get some woody notes in here. There's some other stuff going on, but it is just such a fantastic fragrance. Again, for the price, if you can find this for $80 to $90, which is usually what it's selling for on the discounters, worth every single penny. This is definitely one I recommend you guys check out if you are able to. And again, that is the first fragrance on this list. So again, from the house of Issey Miyake, this is L'Eau d'Issey Noir Ombre. Okay, so moving on to the next fragrance we are going to be talking about. This was actually featured in my video that I did yesterday, which was I think my top 10 underrated fragrances from my collection, which again, this one is extremely underrated in my opinion, just because the house doesn't get much talk at all. This is a standout fragrance though, definitely one of my favorite fragrances from within the genre that it sits. So this is coming from the house of Bottega Veneta. This is Pour Homme Extreme. I would call this like a woody oriental fragrance. It is quite woody. There's a little bit of this spiciness kind of bringing you like that kind of Eastern vibe in a way, but it really does focus more on these woody notes. So you get some pine tree in here. There's also fir tree. You get juniper berry as well as bergamot. There is leather in this fragrance as well. So to my nose, it is mostly green, coniferous, woody, kind of brings like this sappy smell. You do get kind of this clean, vibrant scent coming from those juniper berries, and then the bergamot. but those are very much in like a supportive role. The leather is a lot more prominent in this fragrance. I would say even more so than in Noir Ombre. Here you can definitely notice it, but again, it's not really a dirty leather. It's more of just like I would call like a cleaner, maybe new car leather, but you can definitely pick it out here. And then like I said, there is kind of a slightly oriental feel coming from some nutmeg and then pimento. as your spices. So this is a very nice, I would say quite masculine fragrance, to be honest. I think the name Pour Homme Extreme is fitting, although anybody, again, like I say this, can wear what they want. But if you're looking for something very woody, leathery, spicy, ultra masculine, you can definitely check this one out. Of course, it's on this list here for a reason. I think it is kind of more of a niche profile. It doesn't have like this super mass appeal to it, but I think it does smell quite sophisticated and appealing at the same time, where I think this could kind of pull you compliments if you wear it correctly. So definitely check this one out if you guys can. Again, coming from the house of Bottega Veneta, this is Pour Homme Extreme. Okay, so the next fragrance that we are going to be talking about, of course it had to be on this list. This is one of the best designer fragrances of all time in my opinion. If I had to keep only 10 fragrances from my entire collection, including niche and designer, didn't matter which genre, I would still probably keep this. This would edge out a bunch of my niche fragrances. So this stuff is no joke. This is Dior Homme Parfum. Oh my gosh, yeah, this stuff is so beautiful. This is easily my favorite Dior Homme flanker by far. This one brings a lot more masculinity to the line. This is not quite as metrosexual as some of the other Dior Homme flankers, which I still love all of them, but this one is just something special. So of course you get that iris in here, and to my nose, this is actually the most dominant iris note from within this line. It is very present. You get that like waxy kind of makeup-y feel, but that is easily offset by the oud in here. There's also leather in here, and then this heavy, dark, masculine rose. So if you're not a rose lover, you would maybe still even enjoy this one. Like, I'm not crazy for rose by any means, but I really like the way it works in this fragrance with the iris. Again, it's not jammy and syrupy sweet and like super duper just like heavy in your face. It is a darker, more powdery, masculine rose. The oud in here brings a nice woodiness, and then the leather is a little bit more skanky, but there's nothing like animalic or dirty about this fragrance. It's not like a new car leather. It's kind of somewhere straddling that line between super clean suede and like more of a rustic leather. So this is a fantastic fragrance overall. You guys need to check this one out. This does bring a little bit of sweetness as well, so that does offset a lot of those more masculine, heavy, and drier notes. Works perfectly. There's nothing I would change about this fragrance, even if I was given the opportunity. So this had to be here on this list. Smells extremely natural. All the notes here are authentic smelling. There's nothing synthetic about it, and that's why it had to be here on this list. So if you guys have not been able to sample this one yet, I know it can be hard to find, but if you can get a sample, you have to try this one. Again, this is coming from the house of Dior. This is Dior Homme Parfum. Okay, so we are on to the number 2 spot now, and this is one of the most transportive fragrances easily here on this list. Of course, very authentic smelling as well, but this really does take you to somewhere else, and that's why I absolutely love this stuff. Really nice fragrance. This is coming from the house of Comme des Garcons. This is Incense Kyoto. If you guys are unaware, this line is called the Incense like Series 3 line, I believe. There's 4 or 5 fragrances, and they're all kind of religious themed fragrances. Of course, incense is used quite often in religion and spirituality and stuff like that. So this one is more of a Japanese themed incense fragrance. That's why you're getting the name Kyoto with this one. So it's supposed to take you to a Buddhist temple in Japan where they're burning incense. So of course you get that smoky incense smell, but you also kind of get this heavy, almost old, dark, dank wood smell as well, representing the temple that you are located within. So it is quite woody, smoky, very green, kind of has this old smell to it, but not like rotten or anything like that. I've compared this almost to the scent of walking into an old cabin, you know. It is ancient smelling. There is kind of this dampness to it, very woody, but not like rotten or like moldy smelling. So that's what you get here with this fragrance. Of course, the incense works very well with it. It does complement the woody notes. Again, really transportive, very authentic smelling. It does smell like actual wood. There's nothing chemically with it. The incense here is very authentic, bringing, again, kind of this darkness and this light smokiness as well. You really need to check this one out if you're into something like that. Very unique, woody, smoky fragrances. And this is the number 2 one here for this list. So again, from the house of Comme des Garcons, this is Incense Kyoto. Okay, so we are finally on to the last fragrance, and this is one coming from a house similar to Comme des Garcons that is just very underrepresented here in the fragrance community, does not get much talk. This is my only fragrance from this house currently, but I really dig this stuff a lot, so I definitely want to expand my horizons, try more fragrances from them. So this is coming from the house of Costume Nationale. This is Homme. And I believe that this made it onto my underrated fragrances video that I did yesterday as well. So we actually have 2 of those here. Definitely a very high quality designer fragrance. This one you get cardamom, grapefruit, and bergamot in the top. So it does start off a little bit fresh, spicy, and zesty, but it does quickly transition to more of a spicier, more masculine fragrance. You get cloves and cinnamon in the mid, and then there's some sandalwood and then labdanum down in the base. So the cloves to me are quite present. They do bring kind of this older school feel to the fragrance, not quite barbershoppy, but it faintly hints at that style of fragrance. But you also do get that cinnamon in here, bringing a different spicy nuance. You really do have to like cinnamon and cloves to enjoy this fragrance. They are very present here. The sandalwood brings a nice creaminess. There is kind of this milky, silky quality to the fragrance in the dry down, but it is quite woody at the same time. So if you want something that is kind of traditional smelling, very masculine, but it is kind of modern, you know, this doesn't smell like something straight out of the 70s and 80s, but it definitely hints at those styles of fragrance. You would have to check this one out. Again, it's on this list because the scent profile is quite sophisticated. Everything does smell extremely natural to my nose, and I just really dig this stuff overall. So very underrated, hence why it was on yesterday's video. And it does smell extremely high quality and blended amazingly, which is why it's here in this video. So you have to check this one out if you can. Again, from the house of Costume Nationale, this is Homme. Well, there you guys go. That was my top 5 designer fragrances from my collection that have a niche quality to them. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, I would really appreciate dropping a like just to show your support. And then that way more people can see my videos on YouTube. Additionally, if you want to write a comment, maybe just letting me know your thoughts, as well as some new video ideas or topics, that would be great too. And since you're down there doing all that stuff, if you have not already, if you could hit the subscribe button and then the bell notification, that would be amazing. That way you stay up to date on new videos whenever they get released going forward. But with all that out of the way, that's all I really have for you guys today. So I hope you have a good one. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and smell great.